What do you think is common between the Marathas and Iran? By blocking the Strait of Hormuz, Iran has deployed a Maratha war tactic. Let's find out. Since February 28th, the US and Israel have bombed and claimed a tactical victory over Iran. The US feels that they are winning by dropping bombs from air, but in reality, they are losing the war at the local petrol pump. America, आसमान से गिरा और खजूर में अटका. The US is on the back foot. Economic impact is mounting every day, and that's why let's discuss what could be the 5 off-ramp scenarios for the US and how will they impact you. Scenario 1, the global pressure cooker. Usually, Washington and the Jerusalem don't care what the world thinks. They just go ahead. एक गुंडा और दूसरा उसका assistant. By this time, the scale of the war has triggered a global backlash we haven't seen since the Iraq war in 2003. Even old friends like France and Germany have officially broken away. They are calling for an immediate ceasefire. This isn't just a Middle East problem anymore, it's a European crisis. Without Europe's support, the US loses the intelligence and logistical backing it needs to keep a long-range war going. The war premium on oil will drop by $5 a barrel almost instantly as soon as the market realizes that the world is pulling the plug on this conflict. We give this a 35% probability of happening. Scenario 2 is what we call the goalpost problem. Basically, the US and Israel don't know what winning actually looks like anymore. At first, they said the war was only about destroying nuclear sites. Then they said it was about IRGC. Now with Mojtaba Khamenei taking over, the real target has become a ghost. Without a clear surrender from Tehran, the US is looking at a forever war that they simply cannot afford. Watch for the White House to suddenly declare mission accomplished on the missile threat. By moving the goalpost to a win, they can exit the war without admitting a stalemate. This move alone will stabilize oil by roughly $12 a barrel, almost overnight. There is a 70% probability of a strategic pivot here. Scenario 3 is the economic hard stop, supply chain collapse. This is where Iran's war of math hits the American consumer directly. Right now, the Strait of Hormuz is effectively closed, trapping 20% of the world's oil. Now you might be thinking, wait, the US is the world's top oil producer. Why would they care if the Strait of Hormuz is blocked? Here is the catch. Oil is a global commodity. If 20% of the global supply vanishes, the price for every barrel on earth doubles. For an American first administration, $7 gas is a political death sentence. It's not that the US will physically run out of oil, it's that they won't be able to afford the inflation it creates at home. If the US can't force the strait open within 30 days, the domestic economic pain becomes a bigger threat than the war itself. The moment a deal is struck to reopen the water, oil will crash by $25 per barrel. We put this at an 80% probability of forcing an off-ramp. Scenario 4. The revolt of the partners. This is where US realizes that its own security umbrella in the Gulf is actually leaking. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are directly in the crosshairs. They have seen their own refineries targeted by Iranian drones. And they are tired of being the battlefield for a war Washington started. They are telling the US, if you can't guarantee our safety, we are not going to fuel your war. This is a huge leverage point. If the Gulf states stop providing base accesses for US troops, or airspace, the campaign literally ends on the spot. You can't fight a war if you have nowhere to land your planes. If these partners force an exit, it would shave $10 off the barrel almost immediately as regional stability returns to the tickers. We give this a 50% probability of happening. The last and the most important scenario. The domestic pain, finally the only number that matters to a politician. The $5.5 per gallon gas. Right now, as of March 19th, 2026, the national average price per gallon in the US is already creeping towards $4. And in places like California, it's already past $5. But for the White House, the real deadline is November 3rd, 2026. The midterm elections. Every single seat in the House and the 35 in the Senate are on the line, with President Trump's approval rating currently sitting at a record low of 36% to 40%. The administration is in the impeachment danger zone. And the Democrats have already made it clear, impeachment proceedings will start on day one. To save the 2026 elections, the US will have to find a off-ramp and declare a strategic victory even if the job is not done. The moment they pivot to cool down the voters, the war premium on oil will break, dropping price by $15 a barrel almost instantly. We give this a 90% probability of being the final trigger. The US and Israel are unlikely to back down in the sense of an apology or retreat, but they are highly likely to pivot. Until then, we will oscillate between 2100 points 3-day hat trick and 2000 point 1-day loss. But knowing what happens when they do will help you stay prepared. So thank you for tuning in and thank you for your time. Have a great day.